Hey everybody, thanks for joining me today. I was just driving down the road and was kind of struck by some thoughts and ideas of different conversations I've had today, and I just wanted to pull over and get them out of me before I forget them. So, a white butterfly just went in front of us. Awesome. There was a couple of conversations I had earlier today with some of my peers within a circle. And the discussion was really about going back to some of that imposter syndrome and just really examining the history of the deep programming that we have. And so that's through societal conditioning, it's through cultural aspects, it's through the familial aspects that we all have, influences our experiences and informs our experiences. And in addition to that, we were talking a little bit about like why, specifically as women, why we're really, the way we structure our belief system around whether our success is successful enough or appropriate enough or fulfilling enough, or if it is super fulfilling and we're finally hitting that flow of everything that we desire to feel in our work, then somehow we must be doing something wrong because it doesn't look like the picture. It's shattering what that really looks like. And what we've all been fed. And then a little fast forward a little bit later, I was, really listening to something about, from one of the people that I really enjoy listening to, Lori Ladd. And she was talking from a couple days ago about learning to really feel our own resonance, understanding what resonates with us, what our truth is, and understanding that, all of us have been, it's been so much gaslighting since, we were itty bitty, and it causes us to question our truth because we've been conditioned over time to don't trust what you feel and just focus on logic and facts presented. Which then obviously opens the door to anybody's particular facts that can be used to control or, move a situation to their benefit. There's not always truth in things that are presented to us as quote unquote facts. What's the point? I'll put a link to Lori's video below. I really recommend the 12 minutes. Very, very fascinating and spoke to me because it feels like it was basically piggybacking on this morning's conversation with my sister circle, and just kind of the examination of those emotions and feelings that were being discussed in our group, and then that kind of like topped off to meeting somebody that I absolutely adore. We've only ever met on virtually through Facebook and through some groups that I've been a part of, and through those Zoom calls. We ran into each other at my favorite crystal shop, and just had this beautiful energy exchange. And it was quite lovely to just feel and sense that energy between us and what felt like sameness. And it's just a really cool thing. So here's the point of today's video for this particular docuseries. This is something I learned a while ago, but honestly, we're all still in a process. Like, even if you work through the first level of trauma with it, there's still, and reprogramming, there's always some new layer to it that you find. And I want to point that out, that if you feel like, oh, I've done this work, just know that this is always ongoing. We're taking out so much deep third dimensional and density programming within us. And based on your set of experiences, your layers to that are going to be different than somebody else's layers. Everybody has a complexity to their layering system of those different influences that I was talking about. And so what I wanted to say is, when are we going to learn to own our own stories? Come on, ladies. And men too. I work and am friends with a lot of men as well, but I feel like at the moment I'm probably going to have more women watching this, but it is true. So let me just back up. I don't want to be exclusive in any way situation. So as a human being on this planet right now, when are we going to learn to own our stories as our stories? Our truths, our stories are our experiences. They're nobody else's. No one else can tell you if your experience is right or wrong, or what you're feeling is right or wrong, or that you're feeling something else. And we need to not just acknowledge that for other people. In other words, what is your interaction that you're putting back onto somebody else, right? But we've got to start with ourselves first. We've got to give ourselves permission to feel what we feel, to sense what we sense, and to trust that, implicitly trust it. There's actually something Lori says in her video where she was talking about, you wouldn't question if somebody said what your name is, and you said your name, and they go, no, that's not it. You'd be like, it is my name. I know my name. Like, you would trust that piece of information, right? And I think this is a great example for us to go with. You would trust that because you just know it. You intuitively, deeply know that this is my name. I'm not lying. Why would I lie about my name? If I believe that to be true, or if I know that to be true, then it is. And that is true for your other experiences and things that you feel. So not letting anybody else sway you from what you know is your truth. But more so, this thing that I just wanted to say was a lot less about letting somebody else sway you. Everything's an internal job. Very little is an external job. Most all of the stuff that we're going through, the vast majority of everything you're going through in awakening and healing and expanding and through the ascension process itself, and just general figuring out who you are and stepping into your whole self, it's all an internal job. It has pretty much zero to do with anybody else or anything else externally. And so that's the first place we have to start. If somebody has asked us something of us, or has shared information, or has tried to tell you your information is wrong, whatever, you have to start with here. It's all the internal job. And you have to own every last bit of it. Own your story. Own the crazy, jacked up path of experiences that got you to where you are today. Nothing is going to look like that goes back to comparison. So my brain took me off to the moment I remembered, it was actually my 35th birthday. And I remember sitting there with a friend at lunch, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm 35 years old. This is not where I should be in life. I was going through my second divorce. My children were not living with me at the time, and I was utterly destroyed from the abusive relationship I was coming out of. And I didn't feel like I was broke again. I had to give up everything again. And this was just like that cycle that I was in was going from a societal norm standpoint, going, well, you clearly don't know what you're doing, because you should have a totally different life by now. You should have a 401k that looks like this, and your bank account should look like this, and this particular title for your career. Like, you should have these things. And I did the same thing at 40 and went through that whole process again. I'm like, well, shit, at 40, this should not be what my life looks like. It should look different on paper. The fact of the matter is it's irrelevant, because all of those things that are happening are informing where you are today. And so we cannot discount all of those moments and somehow tell ourselves that what we've done to get where we are isn't enough, or it doesn't qualify us in some way for how we're feeling. If you're putting qualifiers on experiences for how you feel, then you're limiting yourself from the abundant living. You're limiting yourself from even being in flow. If your qualifiers are, man, this feels so great, but it can't actually be truthful yet because it doesn't come with a bank account with this many zeros behind a number, or I'm not driving this type of a car, or this person's not in my life yet, or blah, blah, blah. Insert whatever your thing is. And so, yeah, I just wanted to come back and just say, guys, we've got to own our stories. We've got to learn to trust ourselves and our own intuition, and trust where you are and your flow, and get out of your own way, because you're awesome and amazing and gifted and talented. Even if you don't feel like it right now, you're in the process of waking up to that. So the thing is going back to the examination. Sit with things, examine them, find somebody trusted or a trusted circle that you can safely explore those ideas and concepts and fears with. That's actually how this all got started today, was somebody saying, Is everybody available for me to share? I need to share something. I'm struggling. Here's my thoughts and ideas. Where am I at with this? And allowing for the safe space for people to come in and not just encourage and be the cheerleader, but to empower and give good thoughts around, here's some things you might want to examine. This might be a place to start. Sit with yourself, find out what's, really pushing that. I think we so quickly want to run through and find solutions or just know that we're okay. But there is a process where you have to sit with something and examine it. Sitting with it isn't just real quick and asking your guides. It's just sitting. It's feeling into yourself to examine a thing and to ask it questions. Have a dialogue with that fear. Have you thought about that? Have you thought about having dialogue with your fear or your anxiety or your disappointment or whatever that non-love emotional frequency is? Have you thought about having a dialogue with it? Sit and ask it questions. Visualize literally like it's sitting in front of you in a chair and you're interviewing it. Find out why it is telling you what it's telling you. And then you have information to not only transmute that and provide love back to that frequency, to shift it into something better and higher, but now you have information to work with. And when you have the information to work with, you can then change a behavior, you can root out old programming and input new programming. That sounds super simple, and it is in theory from a checklist standpoint, but it requires a lot of attention and energy and, even a sense of stillness in order to have that discussion within yourself. Whew. All right, time to turn the air conditioning back on. It's really hot in this car. So thanks for listening, guys. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. There's a lot more coming. There's so much. This time of rest is giving me access to so much information and wisdom that I'm really excited about sharing. Not just getting back to work in another week and a half, but just spending more time with you guys. So thanks so much. Till next time. Bye.